The new Supreme Court nominee is hoping to convince Senate members to confirm him, while others are questioning the fate of abortion if he takes that seat.
And for the first time in a few weeks, people are going to be able to take advantage of a beautiful forecast on lakes and rivers throughout southern Wisconsin. We'll have a live report from Lake Monona coming up.
This is News 3 This Morning.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to News 3 This Morning. 6 o'clock right now on this Tuesday, July 10th, 70 degrees out.
Gorgeous day. Gorgeous day. Yesterday was lovely, too. I spent the day painting with one of my friends, so if you see little flecks anywhere, that's what it is.
So you spent the day inside on a gorgeous day.
Was it an inside painting or outside painting?
It was, and the air conditioning was on.
Well, it was humid yesterday, in all defense.
Yeah.
But today will be a lot better. We do not have to worry about that humidity into the afternoon. A little humid out there now, but that'll be going down throughout the day. Live sunrise from the WISC-TV camera. When you look west in Wisconsin in the morning, it's absolutely beautiful. That's what I'm picking up on since I have been here. Leah is really excited about that.
My neck of the woods. That's why it's so beautiful.
That's right. 69 degrees right now. Dew points into the mid-60s. Notice, though, dew points are coming down, and they'll continue to drop as we go through the day. Low 50 dew points up in the North Woods. That's what's going to be moving southward throughout the day. Temperature-wise, we'll top out at around 85 degrees with a lot of sunshine to go. Into the afternoon, around a cloud cover will likely move through. That's a dying complex of thunderstorms. Don't worry about the cloud cover. We'll get that sunshine back into the picture just as fast as we can. Guys.
Dying complex of thunderstorms.
I know. Every time you say that, Adam and I are like,
should we throw some sort of a service?
Yeah.
Should we hold a service for a dying complex?
Well, you know, if we don't get enough rain, maybe eventually, but we'll hold off for now.
I don't think anyone's sad about it right now.
Yeah, not right now. A good day.
Good point. Thank you, Chris.
No problem.
First this morning, lawmakers are planning on meeting President Trump's pick for the Supreme Court this morning. Federal Appeals Court Judge Brett Kavanaugh is the nominee to fill the seat for retiring Justice Anthony Kennedy. Kavanaugh has written roughly 300 opinions as a judge on the D.C. court. He supported conservative issues ranging from gun rights to anti-abortion cases and sided against net neutrality and many Obama-era EPA regulations. Senate confirmation hearings should start this fall.
Wisconsin's lawmakers are reacting as expected across party lines. House Speaker Paul Ryan tweeted Judge Kavanaugh was an excellent choice. Further wrote, the judge would bring extensive experience to the Supreme Court, and constitutional principles are the ultimate guide for his opinions. Republican Senator Ron Johnson released a statement saying he was looking forward to meeting with Judge Kavanaugh and the Senate moving quickly through the confirmation process. As Leah just mentioned, Republican leaders want to hold hearings and take a vote on Judge Kavanaugh's nomination before November's elections. Wisconsin's Democratic Senator Tammy Baldwin criticized Judge Kavanaugh, writing in a statement, "People need an independent justice," she wrote, "who will not overturn the law of the land on women's health, health care for people with pre-existing conditions, and the constitutional rights and freedoms of all Americans." In the state, Governor Walker supported the nomination, writing in a statement, Judge Kavanaugh, he said, was somebody of integrity who understands the law, and that a judge's role is to uphold the Constitution regardless of their personal or political beliefs. They'll have more on this coming up on CBS This Morning.
One of the biggest questions surrounding the Supreme Court pick is the fate of abortion rights in the country. It's possible the justices could reconsider the landmark Roe v. Wade case that legalized abortion back in 1973. We sat down with an expert on American politics from UW-Madison. Here's what he had to say.
I don't think that Roe versus Wade is going to be something they're going to target right off the bat. I'm fairly skeptical that it's going to get the attention that the groups on the left and the right are talking about right now.
Wisconsin does have a law on the books passed prior to Roe v. Wade that would make abortion a felony.
So we have been following a developing story out of Thailand this morning. Really good news where another 3 boys are now safe after being pulled from a cave this morning where a youth soccer team had been trapped for more than 2 weeks. You're looking live this morning right now at the entrance of that cave. We are hoping to hear from the dive teams that are now hoping to free that remaining 1 player and the coach. The 8 boys already taken to the hospital over the last couple of days are currently isolated because of a risk of infection. They are, though, expected to be released within a week or so. There are updates that have been coming out over the last, hour or 2 hours or so. We will update it as soon as we learn something new. And CBS This Morning is live in Thailand with the latest just after 7 o'clock. All right, at 6:04 right now, back in Dane County, there is an opportunity for people who live on Madison's southwest side to hear from the people who want to represent them on the Board of Supervisors. The open seat comes after George Gillis resigned from District 14 when he moved out of that neighborhood. Yesterday was the deadline for candidates to submit their paperwork, their nominating signatures. There's a public meeting tonight where those candidates are going to be talking about their qualifications for the job. That meeting is at the Capitol and Christian Center right across the street from Chavez Elementary School. The person chosen by the county board is only going to fill that seat temporarily until the spring election next April.
Madison leaders are trying to figure out how to square safety with privacy when it comes to surveillance video around the city. Earlier this year, the Common Council passed new requirements for Madison's convenience stores to install cameras at every entrance. Now, members are looking at which city agencies have cameras and which ones will buy them in the future. Police have also been working to figure out how to store video from Madison's traffic cameras and other city buildings while still trying to protect the public's privacy.
Madison city leaders are going to consider allowing those police officers the right to ticket people who fly drones illegally. First committee hearing on that issue is tomorrow night. Tonight, meanwhile, the police department's showing off its drone, how it uses the technology. At a community meeting on the near west side, officers have used the drone so far this year in search and rescue operations, crime scene mapping, car crashes, and to investigate a home explosion. Lieutenant Mike Hansen leads the department's drone team. He's going to be showing off that technology at the Midvale Community Lutheran Church that's located on Tokay Boulevard. That meeting is tonight at 6:30. 6 minutes after the hour, there is good news this morning for boaters on lakes and rivers throughout southern Wisconsin.
Yes, this comes after 3 weeks of some pretty slow going on Lakes Monona, Waubesa, and Kaganza, thanks to all that water, that rain we've seen, all the flooding. Our Madeline O'Neill is live this morning with where levels are sitting right now. Good morning, Maddie.
Hi. Hi, Leah and Adam. Yeah, you can see the slow no wake sign here. Luckily for boaters, that should be gone by noon. Officials taking it down to allow traffic back out onto the lakes. They say lake levels are down about a foot from where they were at their peak last month. Slow no wake requirements were put in place to reduce shoreline erosion and protect low-lying areas from seeing flooding. The high water levels also make it dangerous for boaters. That's because county officials say docks and piers can be swept up and scatter debris across the lake.
We're hoping with the dry weather that lake levels keep declining and we approach our summer maximum target level.
Lake Kaganza was the highest in the area, exceeding 100-year levels. Officials say Lakes Monona and Waubesa were close to hitting that too. Now in Rock County, officials have lifted the order on Rock River, so good news all around. Coming up, we'll take a look at what Dane County is doing to help with the flow and get traffic out on the lakes. Adam and Leah.
All right, that plus the forecast today, perfect reason to get out there and enjoy the water today. All right, thanks, Maddie.
Lane closures overnight on Verona Road should be cleared by now, but there's still construction throughout the area this morning. In one city in our area, officers are writing way more tickets and warnings as they see people speeding through neighborhoods to get around road work. We'll share the details here in a couple of minutes.
And let's take a look outside at this warm summer morning. Another day of sun and heat. A little hazy out there with less humidity, though. That's ahead. Chris Reese has your first alert forecast when News 3 This Morning continues.
Well, good morning and happy Tuesday to all of you. If you've stepped out, we have seen several gorgeous sunrises this morning. The sky absolutely beautiful and full of color on the horizon. There's not even much in the way of cloud cover out there, so that is good news. Here's a live look downtown as well, where we're still seeing that beautiful weather. Winds out of the north at this hour at about 5 miles per hour. That's after a cold front did come through yesterday. This morning, actually a bit milder than yesterday morning, but we'll start to see the lower dew points move into the picture into the afternoon. In fact, dew points near 70 in Janesville right now, 65 the dew point for us here in Madison. Check out the Northwoods with those dew points in the 50s. That is what's going to be moving southward as we go through the day. So the further into the afternoon we get, the better it will feel in terms of how humid it is outside. So that is certainly the good news. 70 degrees the temperature right now, actually 69. We just dropped a degree a moment ago in Madison. Dew points still, like I said, are in the mid 60s, so it does feel at least a little bit muggy this morning, but like I said, that's going to get better later on. 70s and 60s along the lake shore in south central Wisconsin, 50s up in the North Woods as of now. We'll top out right around 85 degrees today, 80 for lunchtime with lots of sunshine. Here's the 85. You'll notice cloud cover moves in into the early afternoon and evening. That's a complex of showers and thunderstorms over Minnesota right now. That's going to be losing its energy and its punch as it works its way to the south. By the time it gets here, we'll see some cloud cover, but there should be no rain associated with that. We'll clear out again into the late evening and overnight time period with temperatures falling into the 60s. But this dome of high pressure will be in control, especially for the weekend. That heat and humidity working its way back to the west, though, eventually under a southwesterly wind. So we'll start to get more heat and humidity back in here towards the end of the week. Then comes yet another cold front that will impact our weather in coming days. Now let's say hello to a little friend of mine. This is Tropical Storm Chris off the Carolinas. I know a lot of folks planning beach vacations. You've heard there's a tropical system out there. Here's the good news, and this is why I call Tropical Storm Chris a friend. Even though it'll become a hurricane later on today, it likely will not be a threat to land. So that is the good news. This is mainly what we call a fish storm, as in it should remain out over the open Atlantic in terms of any kind of impact. We do heat back up towards the end of the week into the upcoming weekend. It'll feel a little tropical with the heat and the humidity back, but then a cold front comes in and that drops the temperatures all the way back down. Check out day 10, likely not getting out of the 70s on that day. 86 your high tomorrow, 87 into Thursday. Rain chances do come in Friday and into the weekend. Then we warm back up, and then of course cooling down into this time next week. The humidity expected to come back down this time next week as well. Now let's go to Josh Tim with your first alert traffic. Josh.
Yeah, good morning. A quiet start on the Madison roadways. No issues showing up on the Beltline yet in either direction. Checking out Dane County, there are a few brake lights up and down Verona Road between Highway PD and the Beltline, along with on Stoughton Road approaching the Beltline ramps. No problems yet downtown around the Capitol Square and UW campus. Volume shouldn't be a problem at least for another half hour or so. And other main routes heading into the city are moving along at the posted speeds with no crashes or delays. Your first alert traffic, I'm Josh Tim.
All right, thanks Josh. Thanks Chris. 6:14 your time now. City leaders want to take a major downtown intersection and make it more pedestrian friendly. There's a development plan for the 6-block area along West Mifflin Street and West Washington Avenue. That's outside the Capitol Center Market. That work could include redeveloping some of the properties there and reworking the streets to make it easier for people to shop on foot. City leaders will be asking for the public's thoughts on that topic later this summer.
Middleton police are writing an increased amount of traffic tickets in residential neighborhoods impacted by road work. There is construction being done on Gammon Road and Park Street, and cars are being detoured to side streets to avoid backups. In the first 10 days of construction, Middleton police stopped dozens of cars for speeding. They gave out 70 warnings, wrote 34 tickets. The people who live in that area say that has helped, but they're still worried about all the traffic in their neighborhood.
It's been 3 or 4 times usual, I would say. Normally, when I'm leaving home, I don't have to sit at the corner and wait to get out on Stonefield, but now, most of the time I do.
Middleton police have put out street radar signs at the edges of the detour to remind drivers to slow down. Some people who live in the neighborhood also have their own signs on their own lawns, reminding drivers to slow down as well.
Consider that your warning. All right, 6:15 the time now. If you're looking for a way to give back this summer, think Silver Bells. I won't sing the whole thing. I'm terribly off tune, but a campaign normally associated with Christmas time is out with its summer campaign. and it's in need of your help.
And it's a great day to be outside volunteering, enjoying the water, or finding any other excuse just to be outside. Chris Reese is sharing a great midweek First Alert forecast for you when News 3 This Morning returns.
Good morning to all of you. Lots of sunshine out there today. Temperatures starting off mild already, but those dew points will be coming down as we go throughout the day. A hazy look over in Platteville right now. We still have a hazy look for us on the horizon here in Madison as well. 69 degrees right now. Dew points are in the mid 60s. So as you step out this morning, yes, there is a little bit of mugginess to the touch as you step outside. Temperature wise, we're going to see things top out right around 85 degrees or so this afternoon for those highs. That will be coupled with plenty of sunshine as well. And we might have a little bit of cloud cover coming in later into the afternoon and evening, but no major worries about that. Dew points are coming down, but we do have some rain chances in our forecast too. I'll be breaking down all of the forecast here in a bit. Guys.
All right, thanks, Chris. News 3 is partnering with a local nonprofit called Today Not Tomorrow to help ease the burden for parents in Dane County with a community baby shower. We're looking for diapers, baby wipes, formula, gently used clothing, strollers, cribs, and so much more. You can drop off items for the baby shower today through Friday at Veridian Homes off the Beltline at Southtown Drive or Associated Physicians on Regent Street at South Midvale Boulevard. You can also make a donation to the cause through PayPal. All of that information is also up on our website right now. That's channel3000.com. mom.
The Red Cross says there is a blood emergency nationwide, and it's urging donors to help make up for the shortages. Red Cross representative says more blood is being used and is being donated. That can have consequences, including, for example, doctors may have to delay surgeries if they don't have enough of the blood there to actually help out. Officials say they're in need of about 15,000 donations. That could take 500 blood drives to reach that goal. We are talking this morning about a sound you are used to hearing during the winter holiday season, but now the Salvation Army is looking to add some bell ringers to its crew this summer.
The Summer Red Kettle campaign kicks off on Saturday, and more than 80% of their shifts are still open. Child hunger and evictions are actually at their highest during the summer months in Dane County. The money donated to the Red Kettles goes toward services like the food pantry and the diversion program, which keeps families out of shelters.
Picking up one shift can bring in an average of $100, which is enough to support a mother and her child, feeding them and giving them a place to stay for 3 nights. So one shift equals 3 nights of safety for a mom and baby formerly living on the streets.
There are 27 locations across Dane County that have Red Kettles. Volunteer shifts are open from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. through the rest of July.
You'll feel better if you get out there and help.
You will.
6:22 right now. Wisconsin congressman wants to get rid of the agency that oversees immigration here in this country, but it's not a plan. It's going over well with members of his own party.
And you're not the only one sick of the sight, the smell of blue-green algae. Ugh, the local nonprofit is teaming up with the city to get us all to help prevent this stuff from happening, starting with your own yard this fall, when News 3 This Morning continues.
The government's efforts to reunite families split up at the border continue this morning as a Wisconsin lawmaker moves to break up the agency that split them up in the first place.
And if you're looking to take advantage of the warm weather, maybe get out on the lakes today, we've got some good news for boaters.
This is News 3 This Morning.
Good morning and welcome back to News 3 This Morning. It is 6:30 now on this Tuesday, July 10th, and a gorgeous one ahead.
Yeah, 69 degrees. We've actually dropped a degree this morning. Chris Reese is out on the patio this morning, talking about how the humidity is actually going to go away this afternoon as well. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning. That's right. A little bit of humidity out here now, but into the afternoon, we're going to watch those dew points continue to drop, so it'll end up being a pretty phenomenal day out there. It's still beautiful already right now. Here's a live look downtown at the Edgewater camera. 69 degrees. In fact, right now with those dew points in the mid-60s. When you have dew points in the mid-60s, this is where it starts to get a little humid. You begin to notice that, but those dew points will be dropping throughout the day. All of us are pretty much in the 60s and 70s here along the lakeshore and in south central Wisconsin. Up towards the North Woods, that's where some temperatures remain in the 50s as of now. By about lunchtime or so, we'll see our temperatures into the low 80s, topping out right around 85 degrees into the afternoon. That's when a round of cloud cover will come on through here. We're not worried about that round of cloud cover. Dew points will be dropping into the upper 50s in the afternoon. That is when it's going to feel absolutely amazing. So like I mentioned, we do have a great day on tap. That humidity gets better into the afternoon. First alert traffic continues to look smooth right now. No real slowdown showing up, not on the Beltline. You have a few starting to begin downtown, but any high volume issues should hold off for another couple of minutes or so. On any of those main roads headed towards the Beltline, it's going to take you about your normal time this morning.
All right. Thanks, Chris.
My pleasure.
We start the news this half hour in California, where a federal judge is telling the Justice Department it cannot keep migrant families detained together for long periods of time. The judge said the federal government failed to present new evidence to undo the rules that limit how long kids can be held in detention. She called the Trump administration's request a, quote, cynical attempt to get around a long-standing court order. A Wisconsin lawmaker wants to get rid of the Border Patrol agency that's responsible for deportation. Democratic Congressman Mark Pocan is the author of a bill that would get rid of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, and reassign its responsibilities to other agencies.
I think, some people are saying you got to reform it, get rid of the president's abuses. I'm just afraid that, the minute that ICE jacket comes out now, you can't accomplish what you need to because of how the agency's been misused by the president.
Pocan's fellow Democrat, Senator Tammy Baldwin, said yesterday she does not support Pocan's bill. She said, though, that ICE's focus should be on, quote, targeting violent criminals and drug traffickers, not families and refugees.
We're continuing to follow the millions of dollars being given to school districts statewide in an effort to keep them safe from a potential school shooter. Attorney General Brad Schimmel announced another $3.5 million in grants were given yesterday to 50 school districts around the state, including a few of them here in our area. For example, the Middleton Cross Plains School District was given roughly $220,000, Wanakee $123,000, Milton $140,000. Beaver Dam, Lake Mills, Parkview, and Reedsburg also received money to be used for safety upgrades.
A Wisconsin prosecutor says he will not file charges against 3 Clinton high school students who gave their classmates brownies laced with a male enhancement supplement. 5 kids got sick because of that senior prank and had to go to the hospital. The Rock County DA says he's not filing charges because the teenagers never meant to hurt their classmates and that they have since apologized and agreed to cover medical expenses. 6:29 the time now this morning. The Clean Lakes Alliance is teaming up with the city of Madison to try and get more people to protect the lakes from blue-green algae by cleaning up their yards.
They're talking about cleaning up in the fall. The Common Council wants to use that $4,500 grant from the nonprofit for an outreach campaign on why it's important for people to rake up their leaves. You see, when those leaves break down, they release phosphorus that washes down storm drains into the lakes, which leads to what we've seen this summer, the potentially toxic blue-green algae. So the Alliance wants to add that grant money to the city's stormwater utility budget so it can start that education program as soon as this fall. So there is some great news this morning for lake and river lovers all around southern Wisconsin.
Around lunchtime, slow no wake orders will be lifted around the area today. We're told lake levels are down at least a foot since peaking after all that heavy rain we saw last month. Our Madeline O'Neill is live this morning with how the county is constantly checking those levels. Good morning, Maddie.
Hi, Leah and Adam. Yeah, you guys have talked about it. It's a beautiful day, and it's this dry weather that's actually helping that slow no order a slow no wake order be lifted sooner than officials say we've experienced in recent years. Lake Monona here and Lakes Wabeesa and Kaganza will be open for all boating traffic starting at noon today. Now, of course, those slow no wake orders are in place for safety, but also to keep the shore from eroding because of crashing waves. Along with the dry weather helping out, county officials say they've been working on mitigation in the rivers, cutting plants and removing those that are impeding the flow. They've also been doing some small dredging. The county's Land and Water Resources Department says it will continue doing its part in trying to keep the lakes open as much as it can this summer.
Usually people are one side or another on their slow no wake, and somebody would call and say, oh, thank you for slow no wake, which is one conversation. Then there's another conversation where why do we have slow no wake? We don't need it, but yet other people do on the lake.
While boaters have been the people primarily affected negatively from the order, kayakers and paddleboarders have taken advantage of the calmer waters, and maybe Leah can speak to that. But officials say that they can't just focus on one group out on the lake, but what's best for everyone on the lake. Now, if this dry weather continues, there's not much rain in the forecast. These water levels should go down even more. Leah and Adam.
All right, I'm happy to hear it.
You should see, Maddie, these muscles that Leah has as she's been kayaking all the time.
So maybe I am causing
Oh my
weight
gosh.
with my kayak.
Maybe you are. You're the problem.
I'll let you know. All right, our Madeline O'Neill reporting for us this morning. Thanks, Maddie.
6:32 right now. A local nonprofit says it will work to change Madison policy that allows animal control officers to kill geese that show up every summer at city parks. City's been working with the state agriculture department since 2011 to remove geese from city parks, in part to maintain water quality, to protect the landscape. 2 weeks ago, workers took 128 geese from 2 city parks. They ended up being gassed with carbon dioxide. Last year, 208 geese were taken from 5 city park locations. Now, the new executive director of the Alliance for Animals says she had no idea this was happening until recently, says she tried everything she could to stop it this year.
We've offered volunteers to clean up and to drive the trucks and to buy the equipment. There's really no excuse for it.
Mary Telfer says oiling the geese's eggs to stop reproduction, planting high grass near the water, or scaring the geese with dogs or cardboard cutouts are more humane ways, if you will, of dealing with the problems that the animals cause. And she says they ought to focus on that going forward. City Parks Division says it already does some of those things, including using solar lights and decoys to harass the geese. City says the goal is not to eradicate the animal from Madison, but simply to manage its population.
Very interesting conversation going on there. 6:33 your time. Now, Madison's public market is starting to come together, and it might include some pretty expensive artwork. We're going to take a look at the $140,000 idea from one city committee.
And Milton firefighters are starting the conversation about building a new station, but don't know where or when just yet. Today's top stories are next on News 3 This Morning. Welcome back to the program. 6:36 right now on this Tuesday morning, the time of the morning we always ask you to share a little bit of what's going on in your world with us. And in Jim's world, it is a super tight shot of a beautiful hawk, we think.
That's gorgeous. I think it's a hawk.
Posted on Facebook. So thank you so much for sharing, Jim. I like animals.
We love animal pictures.
Yes.
Send them our way. What is your morning like? Take a picture, post it on the Channel 3000 Facebook page or on Twitter, and use the hashtag MyNews3Morning. We'll share our favorites like this guy right here on News 3 This Morning.
All right, it's 6:37 right now. Milton firefighters know they're going to be getting a new station to work out of, but they're not sure when or even where it's going to be. Janesville Gazette reports the Milton Joint Fire Commission decided to build that new firehouse since the department has outgrown its current Madison Avenue station. Fire Chief Randy Baker said he hopes a subcommittee can start work on this issue by the end of the month, figuring out the new details of that where and when of the new station. That group will include representatives from the fire departments of both Janesville and Milton. You see, this is the latest step in a reorganization plan that involves Milton and Janesville fire departments who now share administrative resources.
A Madison child care provider wants to open a new facility on the east side that has low-income housing in the same building. Red Caboose Child Care Center is partnering with Movin' Out Incorporated, which is a nonprofit housing developer in our area. The State Journal reports they're considering opening a daycare at the new Union Corners development site on East Washington Avenue. That space would provide the Red Caboose with more classrooms than it has at its current building on Willie Street. Union Corners will also have 40 low-cost apartments, a dozen of which will be set aside for veterans or people who are homeless or disabled. There's a community meeting tonight at the Goodman Community Center, tomorrow night rather, on that topic. Construction on the project could start in fall of next year. 6:38 your time now. It is a great day to get outside, but you're going to want to keep the water bottle close by. Chris Reese says the heat index is going to be high today and through the rest of your work week. He's going to have the details coming up in your First Alert forecast.
First, though, please let us know if you have a little kid turning 3 soon so we can show their picture on TV, help them celebrate their birthdays right here on News 3 This Morning.
Look who's
Welcome back. What a great day to get out there and take a row. We're taking a live look right now at Lake Monona. What a beautiful, beautiful day to be out on the water. That slow-no wake order is going to be lifted at noon, so maybe you can get the boat out, maybe the kayak if you're me, and enjoy that gorgeous weather. 6:42 your time now. Maybe a great day to get out to the zoo. The Henry Vilas Zoo Commission is meeting for the first time since unveiling its new $1.6 million upgrades. That county-funded project includes more bathrooms with handicap-accessible stalls and a breastfeeding room, plus a new concession stand. Dane County Executive Joe Parisi says the new facility will help with that dramatic increase in zoo visitors. About 800,000 people stop by for a visit every year. City leaders want to spend $140,000 on art for the city's new public market. That's a proposal the Madison Arts Commission is considering, while the Common Council takes up proposals from the project's engineers. You're looking at what the 30,000 square foot market might look like. The space at East Washington Avenue and First Street could also see more stores, a hotel, and production space. The public market is set to open in 2020.
We're about 2 months away from 250,000 people coming down to the Capitol Square to sample Madison's diverse lineup of restaurants. We're talking about the Taste of Madison, which features 80 restaurants and live music over the Labor Day weekend. Common Council tonight's expected to authorize liquor sales at that event, which raises roughly $60,000 every year for local nonprofits. Now, this is going to be the 35th anniversary of Taste of Madison this September. The Packers touring game day experience is going to be there for the first time. We're talking about Lambeau Field Live. It lets people try out the Lambeau Leap and experience the game through virtual reality goggles.
Another place to visit this summer, the Janesville Lions Beach, where you can take advantage of some new features while you're there. The Janesville Gazette reports the local Lions Club donated $15,000 for new shade spots, picnic tables, and a volleyball net. There's also a bicycle repair station still to come to the beach. The Lions Club says it wants to invest up to $15,000 annually there. And a great day to be out there visiting the Lions Beach, any beach, getting in this lovely sun, Chris.
That's right. Lovely sunshine, or whether you want to find a shady spot, whatever you want to do outdoors today, it will feel absolutely fantastic. Clear skies out there right now. It has been a beautiful morning. We've got winds coming out of the north right now. So yes, while it is at least a little humid right now, we're going to be sweeping that out as we go into the afternoon and evening. Dew points in the 60s and 70s for us, which is a little muggy, and really dew points in the 70s reaches the point where it's uncomfortable. But check out the North Woods, dew points in the 50s. That feels absolutely amazing. And under that north wind, this is going to be moving southward as we go through your Tuesday. Dew points coming down through the 60s and into the upper 50s by the time we get you into the afternoon. Temperature-wise, we're sitting at 69 degrees right now for us here in Madison. Everyone in the 60s and 70s across south central Wisconsin. Now, as you work your way back to the north and west, that is where we do find temperatures that are in the upper 50s as of now. But we'll reach 80 degrees as we get you towards about 12:30. Peak heating of the afternoon, we'll see those highs right around 85 degrees. That's when we'll notice some cloud cover moving in from the north and west, moving to the south and east. That's a complex of thunderstorms across Minnesota right now. It's going to be losing its energy, its power, its oomph per se, and it'll likely lose a lot of the rain components with that as well. So it's just some cloud cover that'll move through quickly. We'll see those clearing skies as we get you into the overnight hours as well. High pressure in control right now, moving in behind that cold front. We'll see the warmth and the humidity really begin to move away from us, but then we start to get into that return flow by Wednesday night. Winds starting to come out of the south once again. Check out this cold front, the northerly winds behind that. That's going to be moving closer into town. But before that gets here, we get more in the way of a direct southerly wind, especially into Thursday. That's why we're going to see those temperatures heat back up before we cool things off. Every meteorologist wants a storm named after him. Say hello to Tropical Storm Chris off the coast of the Carolinas. A lot of folks will be traveling. It's summertime. You're going to the beach. If you're concerned about this, I do want to let you know, even though Chris is expected to become a hurricane later today, the good news is he's not a threat to the American shoreline. He could impact St. John's Island in Canada. We're going to keep a close eye on that. But for the main shorelines, no major issues are showing up. Your travel forecast does have lots of 90s, though, in the mid-plains. Cooler as we get you along the coastlines. We'll top out into the upper 80s this weekend before, get this, we begin to cool off, especially as we get you towards day 10. So lots of great weather coming up. Your Wednesday is going to be fantastic as as well, right around 86 degrees. The low humidity expected for that day. The heat and humidity does return Saturday and Sunday ahead of another cold front, so that's the rain chance on Monday. Check out next week. We'll see a day where temperatures are around 82 degrees, then a day in the 70s. And let's say hello to Doodle, our little super Doodle over there. I'll tell you what, he looks a little fierce. Like if I were a bad guy, I don't know if I'd want that dog coming at me. But if you're going to be walking cute little Doodle this afternoon, low humidity, 84 degrees.
Just stay clear of the letter carrier, Doodle. That's all I have to say right there. Thank you, Chris.
My pleasure.
All right, 6:47 your time now. A little bit of good news as we head to break. We're hearing all 12 boys and their soccer coach are out of the cave in Thailand, where they've been trapped for more than 2 weeks. We're going to have an update next in the morning sprint. Stay with us. It is 6:50, time for the morning sprint. Chris says it's going to be sunny and hot again. Another kayak forecast coming today.
And you can open up the other kind of boats on lakes and rivers throughout the area later today. Madeline O'Neill's reporting on slow no-wake orders that are going to be lifted later today. But we start on Capitol Hill, where senators are going to start meeting President Trump's pick for the Supreme Court this morning. Federal Appeals Court Judge Brett Kavanaugh is the nominee to fill the seat of the retiring Justice Anthony Kennedy. Kavanaugh has written roughly 300 opinions as a judge on the Washington, D.C. circuit. He supported conservative issues ranging from gun rights to anti-abortion cases and sided against net neutrality in many Obama-era EPA regulations. We have reactions from Wisconsin lawmakers on our website, channel3000.com.
One of the biggest questions surrounding the Supreme Court pick is the fate of abortion rights in the country. It's possible the justices could reconsider the landmark Roe v. Wade case that legalized abortion back in 1973. But a UW-Madison law professor tells News 3 he's skeptical the issue would be first on the agenda. Wisconsin does have a law on the books passed prior to Roe v. Wade that would make abortion a felony.
A federal judge in California says the Justice Department cannot keep migrant families detained together for long periods of time. The judge said the federal government had failed to present new evidence to undo the rules that limit how long kids can be held in detention. She called the administration's request a cynical attempt to get around a long-standing court order. The government had argued that long-term confinement was the only way to avoid separating families when parents were being detained for illegally entering the country.
Just into the newsroom within the last few minutes here, all 12 boys and their coach are out of the cave in Thailand after a successful final rescue mission this morning. The soccer team had been trapped in that cave for more than 2 weeks now. 8 other team members were rescued in the last few days and in the hospital in isolated rooms to avoid any risk of infection. CBS This Morning is live in Thailand with the latest just after 7 o'clock.
Happening today, Dane County officials will lift slow-no wake orders on all area lakes. Because of heavy rain in June, water levels reached 100-year levels on Lake Kaganza, and officials say the levels were very close to that on Lakes Monona and Wabisa as well. Lake experts say when water levels get too high, there's too much erosion along the shoreline. It can also create hazards on the water when docks and piers sometimes float off. Since their peak last month, lake levels have dropped around a foot already. We're told as long as the dry stretch of weather continues, the lakes will stay open. And Rock County officials also lifted their slow-no wake order there, too.
Thanks, Maddie. The Clean Lakes Alliance wants to add a $4,500 grant to the stormwater utility budget to help educate folks on how to protect our lakes from blue-green algae. That money would go toward a campaign focusing on the importance of why you should clean up the leaves in your yard this fall. When they break down, the leaves release phosphorus that washes down the storm drains and into the lakes, which causes that potentially toxic blue-green algae.
Wisconsin, we've been tracking that sunrise today. Temperatures will be topping out right around 85 degrees. But as where yesterday the dew points went up, today they're going to be coming down. It is going to feel absolutely fantastic into this afternoon. We may see some cloud cover coming in, but no needs to worry. That cloud cover won't produce any rain, clearing out into the late evening.
Thank you very much, Chris. Madison Mayor Paul Soglin set to testify tomorrow in the lawsuit of 4 former golf professionals suing the city after they were fired for managing the city's courses. They're asking for roughly $2.5 million in back pay. Their lawyer says the mayor signed off on the golf pros being fired after he was told negotiations on new contracts for the men weren't going well. They allege there were no negotiations at all.
A Wisconsin prosecutor says he will not file charges against 3 Clinton high school students who gave their classmates brownies laced with a male enhancement supplement. 5 students got sick because of that senior prank and all had to go to the hospital. The Rock County DA says he's not filing charges because the teenagers never meant to hurt their classmates and that they have since apologized and agreed to cover medical expenses.
There's an opportunity tonight for people on Madison's southwest side to hear from candidates who want to represent them on the Board of Supervisors. Monday was the deadline candidates had to submit paperwork nominating signatures. There's a public meeting tonight where those candidates can talk about their qualifications for the job. The person who is picked by the county board will only fill that seat temporarily until the spring election in April.
The Common Council is looking at which city agencies have security cameras, which ones want to buy them in the future, and what that means for privacy concerns. Earlier this year, City Council passed new requirements for Madison's convenience stores to install cameras at every entrance. Police have also been working to figure out how to store video from Madison's traffic cameras and other city buildings while still protecting the public's privacy.
Talking about cameras, Madison leaders are also going to consider allowing police officers the right to ticket people who fly drones illegally. The first committee hearing on that issue is tomorrow night. Tonight, meanwhile, the police department is showing off its drone, how it uses the technology. It'll be at the Midvale Community Lutheran Church on Tokay Boulevard at 6:30. Officers have used the drone so far this year in search and rescue operations, crime scene mapping, car crashes, and to investigate a home explosion.
Middleton police are writing more traffic tickets in detour areas near construction sites. There's road work being done on Gammon Road and Park Street, and cars are going to side streets to avoid any backups. In the first 10 days of construction there, Middleton police stopped dozens of cars for speeding. They gave out 70 warnings and wrote 34 tickets. Officers now have street radar signs at the edges of that detour stretch to remind drivers to slow down.
The Salvation Army is starting a summer Red Kettle campaign this weekend to help deal with problems of child hunger and evictions that are at their highest during the summer months here in Dane County. Now, more than 80% of those summer Red Kettle shifts are still open. The volunteer shifts, the money donated to the Red Kettles goes toward services like the Salvation Army's food pantry and a diversion program which helps keep families out of shelters.
6:56 now. Let's get a final check on your first alert traffic with Josh Tim. Good morning, Josh.
Good morning. Well, the westbound Beltline beginning to pick up with one patch of brake lights between Stoughton Road and Monona Drive. I would plan on some delays in that direction to show up here within the next 10 to 15 minutes. Inbound John Nolan tapping the brakes near Olin Avenue. That's going to add a couple minutes into the downtown area. But other main routes leading into the city are moving along at the usual speeds with no major crashes or delays. Your first alert traffic, I'm Josh Tim.
Thanks, Josh.
And we continue to see another beautiful day out there. The temperature now rising. We're sitting at 71 degrees. Dew points still in the mid-60s. So, yes, it is a little humid as you step out this morning. That humidity goes down through the day. We'll see those highs right around 85 degrees. Cooling down today into the 60s and then warming right back up into the mid-80s again for tomorrow. Tomorrow, almost a carbon copy of the weather we'll see out there today. Towards the weekend, we will begin to heat things right back up. 88 and 89 degrees for Saturday and Sunday, but then a cold front comes through bringing rain chances, but really beginning to cool us off into next week. We could see a day with temperatures staying in the 70s.
Love it. Thanks, Chris.
All right, so the big story here locally, the no-wake zones are going to be lifted around noon today. Try and get out and enjoy the weather if you can. Have a great day.
Making plans that are weather dependent? Get an accurate 12-hour, even a 10-day forecast. Download the Channel 3000 First Alert Weather app and start planning.